This is Athena Jezik, and today we're going to work on a relaxation massage and giving some ideas to maybe help out people in your family or your friends, to just giving them a little bit of relief when they're under stress. So we'll just start out with checking the body, and then we'll apply the oil. It's a good idea to put the oil in your hands first rather than just drop it on them, because sometimes it's cold and it's kind of a shock to them if it comes out cold. And one more should do it. Okay, starting up at the neck and then near the spine. Be sure that you don't go on the spine, not on the bones, but on either side of it. This is usually done 3 times, and each time you move a little bit farther out from the spine, so you get the edges of the erector spinae muscles. And this is just a sweep of the same thing, only just doing it one at a time. Okay. You want to get into the trapezius muscle and just move along that structure little by little. Comes up into the shoulder blade, so take it up to the shoulder blade and then just let it sweep over. And then go the opposite direction from the shoulder up to the neck. And as you move down, it'll be from the shoulder into the spine with that upward motion. And then along the scapula, there's quite a bit of musculature along there, so it's nice to just check it. If it's smooth, it's doing all right. If you find something there, you can stop and work on it. And this doesn't have to be done with a whole lot of pressure. But you want enough pressure to feel like you're working the muscle and not just tickling the muscle. Keep the arm relaxed. There we go. And under the shoulder blade a bit. This is where a lot of tension is held. Okay, now here I'm going to need to move down to the lower back. Here we're moving upward along that hip line where the attachments are. These are places where the hips attach, the low back attaches. There's a lot of activity here. It's in the stability point of the body. Hips are like the bowl that we stabilize ourselves with. And then I work up the spine coming from this direction as well, because as you come upward, you're separating the vertebrae a little bit differently than when you work down the spine. It's good to give the range of motion to the vertebrae of both dimensions. Okay, and then taking it in I like to bring my fingers in and actually feel like I'm pulling a little bit outward, tucking my fingers somewhat underneath that muscle where it's attaching, the erector spinae, where it's attaching into the spine. Kind of pick it up and do a little palpation underneath of that muscle. It feels very good, very relaxing, and sometimes it's kind of like scratching a deep itch that I think that's why bears must rub against trees. And then one more. Bringing it up all the way to the skull. And going to the other side, we'll do the same thing. First start by pulling outward. And then by pushing it inward. This is going with the muscle fiber at both directions, and you're just giving it a little bit of work going in both directions. Loosening up any fascial restrictions that might be there. And the shoulder blade. We want to try to remember to do the same thing on both sides. I've had some massage therapists that don't really have a good routine down, and it becomes that they just don't really know what they're doing. There's not any focus. And so the work isn't as focused in on really loosening muscles when you go so erratic like that over the body. It's better to have a routine that you're moving from one muscle group to the other. But if you're just doing your friends or your family, it's a little bit different work, and it's all right to not necessarily have a routine for them, because any kind of touch and any kind of therapeutic intention behind that is going to relax them out anyway. We seem to be lacking a lot with human touch in this society, healthy human touch. And we will turn up the vertebrae here. And then do some pulling away from the vertebrae. Fingers underneath there. Well, next, what I do is I work along the vertebrae some more. I start at the base of the skull and I do a vertebral column vibration on either side of the vertebrae and just vibrating it back and forth all the way down to the sacrum. And then here, I tuck my thumbs underneath, right along, I just slip it in along each vertebrae, along the muscle, and just kind of push out. You can go quite deeply. This isn't done with a lot of pressure. I would say, if anything, it's more steady, so that you keep a hold of the muscle. And back down. Keeping a hold of the muscle so you just keep the tension there while you're getting underneath it. And usually I go to the other side of the table to get this, but it can be done on the same side. Again, just holding in on, stretching the muscle a little bit as you work it and get deep into it. And then a second vibration down the spine. And then I run up the spine rather deeply, and at this point what I do is I also pull away from the vertebrae, so there's a little bit of a downward pressure, but it's not a deep pressure, and then a pulling away from the vertebrae, so you're giving little stretches to the small attachments there. And then this also will open up the vertebrae as you come up the spine. Each little vertebrae has a little range of motion there. And then to go around the spine, each little bone, you don't want to rub on the bone, but you want to go around it. And this is just to get some circulation in there, to relax the muscles. Remembering that the nerve, the main nerve of the body, runs down inside of this column. So your entire nervous system is the highway for it. And back up we go. And then a nice way to finish is, first of all, just to spread the tissues out and make it feel kind of like they're being ironed. You can get inside the rib cage there. And then we're going to pull up, kind of wrapping the body. This always feels good. So basically, if you're doing this for your friends or your family, just be gentle with it and have good intention behind it, and be aware that you don't want to be on a bone with a lot of pressure. And you don't want to take anything in too deeply because that's not comfortable. But just the gentler, focused, intentional work for relaxing will produce a good result. Okay, thank you. I'm Athena Jezik, and this was a demonstration of a back relaxation massage.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for subscribing. And I think there's a little bell up there that you can hit that you'll get a notification every time we post. So if you want to, you can hit that too. But thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it.